Hey, y'all, it's Lovely J Podcast with Miss Koko. Y'all have no idea what I am doing. Let me tell you what's going on. Y'all finna have some lunch with me. We finna cook some lunch, which is really gonna be, what's it gonna be? Um, I'm gonna do some pancakes for lunch and a protein shake. That's what I'm gonna have. And I have not cooked the pancakes yet, so you're gonna be here for me to cook them. I was uh I was playing my bass guitar last night till about maybe 1, 2 o'clock this morning, and I said, it is so hard sometimes trying to learn what goes where, and some people can pick it up easy, and then some can't. But one thing I learned is that you have to practice. Whether you play good or not, you still need practice. Even professionals still practice. But I had a good time with it last night on the bass. It was great. What the? Okay. It was great. No bad complaints here. And that's the one thing that I had to learn is that I have to get over me. Sometimes the way I think I should be advanced by now. I've had a bass now since 2021, and I don't always give myself credit for what I do know and how far I have come, and that's a big problem with all of us. We want the big benefits of things without having to go through the small little sacrifices and the troubles that help us learn. But I had to get over me last night. I was like, girl, just play the doggone thing. Just play it. Just have fun with it. And once I relaxed, oh, it was so much a better feeling. And that was on Little Bubba. I was playing Little Bubba last night. Little Bubba, it's all right. I got to think about one of my homeboys. I love to hear him play. I love to hear him play. He's amazing. I have bass buddies that play so good, and I just don't compare yourself to nobody, because you're going to have your own style of doing things. Because a while ago, I listened to one song that's played, the original song, then I listened to how my bass buddy played it. I said, well, he's not playing it like the original song, and it still sounds good. So just be yourself in all that you do. And I'm learning to overcome those obstacles. Y'all, I'm getting this pancake mix out, because I don't do from scratch. I do instant. Yeah, I'm learning to do better, get better at it. There's some things I had to relearn. It won't that I didn't know it before, but after I went through some of the most horrible times that I can imagine, once you go through any type of trauma, there's some things you're going to have to relearn. And one of the things I had to learn to relearn is that it's okay to have to learn to relearn things. A lot of things I had to relearn. And it's regular stuff. You wouldn't think, just regular things. But thank God I wasn't afraid to learn them again, or didn't think I was so full of myself that I didn't have to learn it. That's just like today. Okay, this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I talk about some of the situations that I've always went through when I was in relationships. When I became single, I had to learn how to be single. I never been single. I've been in relationships since I was 15 years old. Never been single. Never had to live by myself. And before I know it, kids were look. The breakup came first, and then the kids became adults. So that left me to learn how to live independently on my own. I was so used to taking care of kids. I had to learn how to come up out of that and give myself some grace to just go out there and live life and have fun. Now, the thing about God's timing is you don't know what comes in between what you think you should be doing and He thinks you should be doing. So during that time, when I started living on my own and finally realized that I was a single woman with kids who had then grown up and got out the house, I started back dating and things. Well, trying to date. Most of it was booty calls, the truth be told. And the parts that wasn't a booty call, it was, good friendships. I made some good friendships. I ain't gonna lie. I made some good friendships, so I can't just say that it was booty calls. I can't just say that it was booty calls. I can say that I made good friendships, okay? And in those friendships, some of them came with benefits. I had to learn how to start cutting those benefits off. Yeah. Yeah, you had to learn how to do that too. But overall, the most important thing I learned is that I will keep changing as I grow. The more I learn, the more I'll change. Those relationships did something to me. The situationships, the domestic violence relationships did something to me. And every relationship just about was centered around trauma. That's why this time around, I don't want no relationship centered around trauma. Because most of those relationships I would not have even been in if I just would have known that trauma was what I was going through. I didn't know. Y'all didn't know either. That's why you keep picking the same people too, because you didn't know. You didn't know that trauma makes you make bad decisions like that. To keep picking people that we're familiar with. I kept picking people that was familiar with my spirit, and that wasn't a good spirit. Kept me in some bad places. As this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I can tell you, I thank God that I got out of those relationships with the same mind and an open heart and mind that didn't give up on love. I haven't gave up on love. I do still believe that God got somebody out there for me. I've been single now about 14 years. All the other stuff was just, thinking I was about to be in a relationship. Them about to be relationships where a man just keep dragging you on and on. He give you just enough to keep you hanging on. Yep, them the kind of relationships I was getting into. 'Cause I didn't know any better. I thought that's what I had to do in order to be in a relationship. And now that I'm older, I realize that if a man really loves you and he cares for you, it's not going to take him 6 months or 2 months to become the man of your heart, the man that helps you. It's not going to take him that long. Men know what they want. Women think they know what men want. but they really don't. Oh, did I just hit stand up in it? That sound like the lyrics that what's his name had. Oh, I just burnt my pancakes. That sound like the lyrics that Theoda said. Women think they know what men want, but they really don't. I don't know what a man wants these days. I just know from what I've learned is that a man can be set in their ways, but I mean, I guess it does balance things out when you give a man space to get out there and be himself, among his friends, his peers, and then let him be who he is to you. He still represent himself as your husband or your boyfriend. He still represent himself as that. But just get out there and be what a man is. Because I know, I wouldn't say I was controlling when I was in a relationship. Well, I don't know. I could have been controlling. I could have been now. Because I was like the type of person that I want things done a certain way. And I was living in this certain order. Come here, pancakes. Pancakes trying to run away. I was living in this certain order. Like, if I met a man, I tried to measure him up to my daddy. And, I just put too much pressure right there. You can't turn a addict or a drunk into a deacon overnight. It's possible it can be done, but I was looking for the deacon in a man that was in the streets. I was looking for a man, a noble character of a man that, was already, on alcohol and drugs when I met him. And now that I think about that thing, that was kind of... Oh, hold on. Let me get some sausage over here. I'm going to have some turkey sausage over here. Now that I think about it, it's possible I could have had part in running those men off. Because I had these high expectations and these standards that I stuck by. And I really ignored who they really were. And that's why I suffered the way I did. I was seeing them as the man I wanted them to be and not seeing them for who they really was. And that's where the problem came in. Now, ladies or gentlemen, if you're listening, because women and men listen to this podcast, if you seeing what you want to see and not seeing the truth of who they really are, you might want to rethink that. You might want to go right back and see them for who they really are. That was my biggest mistake, and that was edging on the domestic violence. That was feeding the violence. My daughter had told me last night, she said, if you don't feed into it, it won't grow. And I remember I've always told them that all their life. You don't feed into things like that. But there I was feeding into it. That's one of the things that I fed into that balance because I want to see that man as who I wanted him to be, which would have been at the time who I thought somebody my daddy would approve of. Why do I keep burning these pancakes? I'm not burning them intentionally. Let me turn my eye down. I ain't gonna eat but two. I overcooked these pancakes. I was trying to make him the man that my daddy would approve of. And when you got a narcissist, that might work while they trying to reel you in. But once you get in, you gonna see they nothing like your daddy, and don't even care nothing for your daddy, unless your daddy doing something for them that's gonna benefit them personally. They care nothing about what your family got going on. They would rather you stay isolated away from the family so the family couldn't, call them out on their behavior. And again, if I had not been so full of myself, I would have known that. I would have been able to spot that. So when you start feeling like your relationship is not going the way you expect it to, it might be time to just step back. If you're going through a lot of hard times and arguments with your other half, you might need to just step back and say, is this really the man that I want? Is he really good to me, or is this the man I'm trying to pretend is good to me in my mind, trying to satisfy what mama and daddy would want for me versus who I really have? Because once you see the truth in that, man, it hurts. I ain't gonna lie. When I saw who I had was not who. When my eyes finally opened up to who the guy really was, by then, I'd been in a relationship with him for 2 years. And I didn't know how to break apart from that. I knew I shouldn't have been. By the second year, I knew I shouldn't have been in that relationship. But my pride would not let me out of that relationship. And my pride kept me in that relationship for 15 years. That was my pride saying, girl, he's the one you need. He helps you out. No, he didn't. He didn't help me out like that. I couldn't even trust him, to keep the kids by himself. So why even be with somebody if you can't even trust them around your kids? Why be with somebody that you can't trust around your pocketbook? I learned that within the first 2 years that I could not leave him around my pocketbook by himself. And yet, I stayed and suffered that consequence because I was full of myself. I couldn't blame him for doing what he did. I mean, think about it. If you know somebody doing something to you and you continue to let them do it to you, then that's your fault. Now, if you don't know that something shady is going on, then, that's on them. But once you know and you stay in that relationship, that's on you. And that's the part that you gonna grieve and have regrets on when you do become single. It's gonna hurt to see how foolish of a decision you was really making. It hurts to see that you wasn't as smart as you thought you was. That whole time that you were running around, thinking you was in control, you was really being controlled in a covert manner, in a sneaky way. It was reverse psychology. Let her think that she's running and calling the shots around here. As long as I let her think a little bit, I can get away with anything I want. And that was the truth. That dude got away with anything that he wanted to get away with, as long as I thought I was calling the shots.